Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this regularly scheduled Township Board of Supervisors. Regularly scheduled meeting. Yeah, my tongue got from my eyepiece. I couldn't hear what I was saying. So, first item will be a pledge to the flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Mark. All right, we had an executive session tonight before our public hearing for purpose of legal matter discussions. At this point, I'd like to open up the floor to communication from citizens. If there is anyone in the room who would like to address the board, please raise your hand to be recognized. If you are on Zoom, please click the raised hand button and you will be recognized to make a comment to the board. Anyone? All right, then we will move on to engineering reports. Diana?
Good evening, gentlemen. I have no updates to the report that was submitted. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions? Thank you,
All
Diana.
right, thank you.
John?
I wish I could be so brief.
So do I.
It's not happening.
By the way, tomorrow is May 15th, and it's Bike to Work Day, so I know it's going to be a long ride for Randall, but I'm going to be riding my bike to work. So, real quickly, updates on my engineer's report. I did provide the quote from Transconomy for all of that mapping, and you could take a look. I thought it's pretty inclusive, and it may be beneficial and maybe deserves a little more discussion. The quote that I got from them, they said was good for 90 days, so we probably have another 30 or 45 days if you want to take some kind of action on that. Secondly, Marion Hull just responded today via email about issues with shopping centers and some of the complications there, so I didn't really get a chance to digest the email. It came in pretty late today. And then First Energy back in February informed the township and the manager let me know that the street lights that we put out there usually went in unmetered. So they would count the street lights we have and send the township a bill. Now, First Energy, their policy is to have a electric meter out there, and the detail that they sent us, and we're in the process of modifying it. I reviewed it with Mark and Denny this week, but it came from a mobile home service, and it looks like heck, but I don't know if we could make it look much better. As I said, I think the only thing that's missing is the mobile home and the car and the blocks in the front yard. It's this metal board that has electric meter on it, and if we have 10 of those along a block of Market Street, it'll look pretty bad. So we're going to try to see if we can make some modifications to hide it a little better. And then finally,
That's their recommendation?
they sent us a detail. We've been asking for it probably for a year and a half, and it finally this.
Can't we tell them, push back on them and say, that's not going to work, come up with something that looks good?
They ultimately have to approve it, and I'll just tell you, for the Shiny Shell Car Wash on Market Street, I had talked to the contractor, and of course, the next door neighbor is the old Firehouse Shops, or not the old fire station, now Firehouse Shops, and his suggestion was, well, let's share a panel together and we'll have one meter location for those two, for those, like, I think he has 3 lights and maybe Firehouse Shops has 4 or 5 lights, so that, we're reducing them, but to have a meter for every couple of lights will look pretty bad. So we're working through those issues, but the ultimate authority comes from Med Ed, and I'm not sure how flexible they'll be. So part of it'll be technology, because the meter itself is like the old glass bubble that you have on your home. And my concern is it's only 5 feet high, it's in the right of way. I could just see those getting vandalized, and we talked a little bit about that. so.
Let's change the thought on that to, they're going to have to satisfy us,
Okay,
not the other way around.
all right. And that
They're trying to make their life easier. They're only gonna do that if they make it look good for us.
And Mark mentioned the name of the spokesman for First Energy who lives in the township, and I had reached out to him. I met him at a meeting a month ago. Mark, if you recall the guy that works for First Energy, he might be somebody that may be able to help us. So, and then finally, traffic signals. I'll remind the board that we had gotten a Green Light Go grant for Kingston and Eastern Boulevard and South Northern Way and Eastern Boulevard. And those things had a limited amount of time, and we found a vendor who was on CoStar, so we bought as much equipment as we could so that the grant wouldn't run out, we wouldn't have used up that funding. But now it's time to install all the products, put the handicap ramps in, and I have a cost estimate, and the manager's asking for permission to bid that contract, so that's on your agenda. That's all I have.
Questions, comments?
Just a question, John. That meter you described has got to be 40 years old. Hasn't there been any technology improvements and downsizing of?
Denny had said nobody goes to the meter anymore and reads those things, but the detail that they showed has the bulb on it, like our old electric meters. So we'll have to investigate, but it's not a very aesthetic looking panel. So we'll certainly do what we can. It took us, like I said, almost 2 years to get a detail from them, because I didn't know what it would look like. So
Okay.
we
thanks,
have
John.
that. Thank you.
All right, next we have our consent agenda, items 5A through G. Are there any items on here that anyone would like to have removed for discussion?
Hearing none, Mr. Chairman, I'll move for approval of the consent agenda, items 5A through 5G.
If Mr. Cox was talking, I couldn't hear a damn thing.
I'm sorry. I made a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 5A through 5G.
Second.
All
Thanks,
right,
Don.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we have bids, proposals, contracts, and agreements. First one is approval of settlement agreement, Beacon of Druck Valley Road Land Development Appeal.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move for approval of the settlement agreement with Beacon of Druck Valley.
Second.
Okay, motion and multiple seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have authorization to purchase Glock 45 COA weapons platform through Whitmer Public Safety Group Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $47,280.30, which is a CoStar's contract.
Mr. Chairman, this is to replace the current service weapons that the police officers carry. Money is included in the capital fund budget to cover this expense.
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the purchase as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next we have authorization to purchase Aldec 556 centrifuge rotating assembly through Alpha Laval Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $360,800.
Mr. Chairman, this is a shared sewer expense for the wastewater treatment facility. This lead time on this piece is almost a year, so we'll pay for a portion of it at order, and then the balance will be in 2027.
Any questions? Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move for authorization to purchase the Aldec 556 centrifuge rotating assembly through Alpha Laval, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $360,800.
Second, Charles.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have authorization to advertise bids to install traffic signal equipment at intersections of Northern Way and Eastern Boulevard and Kingston Road and Eastern Boulevard.
Mr. Chairman, this is just authorization to advertise what John, the
Yep.
township engineer, explained.
Been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It has been.
I move to authorize advertising.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Authorization to advertise bids for pulverized quicklime.
Mr. Chairman, pulverized quicklime is used at the wastewater treatment facility. Again, this is just authorization to advertise for bids.
Mr. Chairman, I move for authorization to advertise bids for pulverized quicklime.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Next, I have authorization to advertise bids for the 2026 road materials and paving project.
This is, again, just authorization to advertise for bids.
You're on a roll, Bob.
I move.
No, go ahead, Don.
Go ahead, Don.
Go ahead, Don.
I move to authorize advertising bids for road paving and materials project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't hear Don.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have subdivisions and land development. We have subdivision 2025-0003, signature flats at Galleria.
Good evening to the Board of Supervisors. I'm actually going to introduce both of these plans because they're tied together at the hip. This is a plan that the board has seen in various iterations, if you will, during the flexible development conversation as well as the text amendment conversation. And so this is the formalized two-lot subdivision and then the subsequent land development plan for the 98 apartment units located at the rear of the extra space storage lot, which is Lot 1, which is the lot that's almost 7.5 acres, and they're looking to do a subdivision that would create a 2.51 acre lot to create the, where the land development plan would be for the apartments. We do have a representative from RGS Associates here, Mr. Jay Krieger, and there's also legal counsel here tonight from Barley Steiner to answer any questions that the Board of Supervisors may have. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to the consultant and his team.
Thank you, Randall. Good evening. I won't go over the parts that Randall currently reviewed with you. I'll just note that the reason it's a separate subdivision and land development plan is to comply with your current ordinances. But they will be tied together, as Randall said, and one won't be recorded without the other. I'll just give a quick recap of the project zoning. I know, I believe most of you are familiar with the process we've been through, but just to give a recap for the board, project is zoned commercial highway, which permits the flexible development overlay to be utilized, and that's what permits the multifamily apartments. This can be utilized at the discretion of the Board of Supervisors, and concurrently, we also went through a text amendment process for 3 elements. To permit a 55-foot height, plus additional permitted with additional setbacks, to permit a parking ratio of 1.5 parking spaces per unit for multifamily residential, and to clarify zoning requirements of the flexible development overlay that it supersedes over other overlays or zones that it's located within. Jake Krieger from RGS. The building is a 4-story building and meets all architectural, area, and bulk requirements of the zoning of the flexible development overlay. And parking is proposed to meet the required spaces for 1.5 spaces per unit. And few of those spaces are proposed as off-street parking along the front of the building, with the remainder being within the parking lot. A loading space is also provided. Some site amenities for this include bicycle parking, indoor bicycle parking, a shared patio space, a dog park area, and a flexible recreation space. Trees and required landscaping islands and screen planting are provided around the perimeter and within the parking. The residual lot for the storage facility exceeds the required needed parking, as well as currently landscaping is less than required, but is an existing nonconformity. However, our project does add landscaping to that parcel as well. Pedestrian connections are extended to the mall entrance, to the food court area, as well as up to Pleasant Valley Road off to the right side. You'll see kind of a little window. Permitting and utilities we do have a MPDS permit for this project already. As sanitary sewer is proposed via a grinder pump up towards Pleasant Valley Road. Water is located within the residual lot, and we'll be connecting through a separate connection with a water meter. Stormwater, as the site exists today, is mostly impervious, and we'll be improving that by removing some impervious from the project. It does propose an underground MRC facility to comply with township volume and water quality requirements. The project has no infiltration due to the soils beneath. Therefore, in accordance with DEP, we're utilizing a managed release concept for stormwater. A traffic assessment letter has been provided with the project. Indicates that traffic generated by the apartment and storage unit is significantly less than what was previously generated by the Bonton department store. For the subdivision plan, as there's solely subdivision of the land, we're requesting 11 deferrals that related to the proposed design elements of the project. These deferrals all will be addressed during with the land development plans. One additional modification waiver of concrete monuments is requested to allow monuments to be set in the paving or wave within building areas. Each lot will have one concrete monument. Essentially, the pins will be within the parking lot within a concrete collar that'll be set 30 inches deep to prevent movement, but to allow them to be driven over and not interfere, as many of them are within parking and driveways.
I think your request says 12 inches deep.
I believe we modified our plans to note 30. The waiver letter may not have been updated
Okay,
with that, but our plans do note 30 inches.
all right.
Thank you.
I do want to make a note of that we catch that if we're going to be acting on that.
For the land development plans, the only modification that's requested for those are the same waiver and modification for the concrete monuments. And the same notes and information is provided on those plans as well. We did receive a review from the your township engineer and staff. There were some comments on there that we reviewed with the engineer and I believe have been addressed. And the remaining comments are all administrative and will be addressed before plan recording. So this evening, we're seeking your approval of the subdivision plan, its deferrals and waiver, the land development plan, and its waiver. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Can we switch back to a view of our other supervisors? Gentlemen, thoughts?
So, Mr. Chairman, it looks like it was 30-inch diameter and for the pins and 12-inch diameter for the collar. I don't know if that's what you were referring to.
I think it said depth of 12 inches and I think you mentioned 30 inches for the depth.
Yeah, it's a 12-inch width collar and 30-inch depth. The plans that were resubmitted have been revised to note that.
Trying to find it here again quickly.
Looks like item 9.
Item 9.
Last sentence. Furthermore, the applicant has stated all iron pins are to be 30 inches deep with 12 inches in diameter collar and to have a 30-inch depth.
You're right.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I did have a question for John, our engineer.
He just dropped off the edge of the earth.
Here, go ahead, Charles.
So, John, did you have any concerns with the waivers or anything in the plans here?
No, sir, Mr. Cox reached out to me earlier in the week, and in between that time, there were a couple of outstanding issues. One was the generator and the size of it. That's been addressed. I have an electrical drawing. The second thing was the manager identified that York Water Company, this came up during the casino discussion. Hey, they got to have a separate water service for that separate building, and they are working with York Water Company to make that separate water connection. So that's been, both those items that I told them were outstanding have been, they're in the process and worked out. So the answer is no. I don't have any real concerns about the waivers.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to Plan SD 2025-0003, signature flats at Galleria SDP, I move for approval of the following modifications waivers. Section 289-10A 2D, Section 289-11B 28, Section 289-11C 5, Section 289-11C7, Section 289-13A 17, Section 289-13A 21, Section 289-13A 24, and Section 289-35, Section 289-13B 3, Section 289-26, Section 289-36, Section 289-38A, and Section 289-1.
281.
Charles, that last one's 281-10.
I'm sorry, 281-10. So or dash, well, it's 10 here. It's 281-1.
Point of clarification, these are not approving waivers, they're approving that they be moved to the development plan.
Correct. Defer.
I don't, deferred to development plan.
That is correct.
That's correct.
I accept
Okay,
the
Yeah.
modification to the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Sorry, Don.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, you still need approval of the waivers at this point, correct?
The conditions.
I'm sorry, the conditions. Mr. Chairman, relative to SD 2025-0003, signature flats at Galleria SDP, I move approval of the following, of the plan subject to the following conditions, section 289-13A5, section 289-76C, section 289-76D, and any township approval should expressly state that it addresses only compliance with applicable Springettsbury Township, County, State, and agency requirements and does not constitute approval, interpretation, enforcement, or assumption of any obligation under the private operating agreement, sales agreement, easements, consent agreements, or related payment arrangements among the property owners and other private parties.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we'll move to land development.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to LD 2025-0001, signature flats at Galleria LDP, I move for approval of the following modifications and waivers. Section 289-26, section 281-12,
John, am I right that the 281-12 is not being requested, not required anymore?
I'm sorry, I could not hear.
So it looks like John said 281-12 volume controls has been satisfied and is no longer no longer needed. Would you amend your motion?
I'll strike section 281-12 from my motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, relative to LD 2025-0001, signature flats at Galleria LDP, I move for approval subject to the following conditions. Section 289-11.B19, section 289-12C, section 289-13B3. Two additional fire hydrants have been shown on the plans. However, the township is awaiting confirmation from the New York Water Company, and the proposed public water system is satisfactory. Section 289, and I just lost it. One moment, gentlemen. Section 289, 76C, Section 289, 76D, Section 1-06 of the Construction Material Specifications, Section 289-1, or is it 10?
281.
10.
Yeah, it's 10.
It's 10. Okay. Also, provide site amenities for the proposed recreation area and dog park. Additionally, provide the surfaces for a proposed play area and dog park. And any township approval should expressly state that it addresses only the compliance with applicable Springettsbury Township, County, State, and agency requirements and does not constitute approval, interpretation, enforcement, or assumption of any obligation under the private operating agreement, sales agreement, easements, consent agreements, or related payment arrangements among the property owners and other private parties.
Second.
I have a motion
I have a
and a
question.
second. All in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, yes. Question.
Sorry. I've never seen any language like number 9 before. Kind of unfamiliar with that.
That was provided by the solicitor after I provided the amendments and so forth to the documentation for the Galleria Mall area. And then he provided this statement that I put in the plan summary. And I'll have the solicitor speak to this.
So I think traditionally we say conditioned upon agreements in place for all of this stuff. This is really what you're saying. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. It's just clarifying and making it more express. Supervisor Bishop,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? Discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Any communication from supervisors this evening?
I guess I will update the board on progress of the YALFR work sessions towards improving governance and the charter agreement, et cetera, et cetera. And just talking about it makes my camera go off. There is progress, painfully slow progress, but progress. So things are turning. I think it may help at some point if this board would maybe think about if we have any suggestions, either what Mr. Swamley has offered before or whatever, because this process could use some direction. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew that something was happening at least.
Yeah, Don, it has been my intent to join those, but been out of town on business and other personal issues and haven't been able to do that, but my intent is to continue that. I think it's going to need more than just ideas. I think it's going to need some leadership, which I think is sorely lacking.
Yes. That's all I have.
Anything else? This isn't your week. Manager's report, Mark.
I do not have anything to add, but glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for the manager? All right, we'll move to ordinances and resolutions. First is an ordinance amending park rules and regulations for public parks and recreational grounds in Springettsbury Township. Ordinance number 2016, or 2026 dash something.
Mr. Chairman, this is specifically addressing the move to allowing alcohol in this park at certain, provided by township vendor at certain township-sponsored events. So I worked with Solicitor Sanders to come up with that language you see before you, which I think captures that intent very well.
You have a number? 3? 2026-3. Any discussion on this?
I move to approve ordinance 2026-3, park rules.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sorry, that was just advertising the ordinance. I should have included that.
That's clear, right? Yeah. All right, next we have resolution number 2026-40, which is authorizing transfer of liquor license number ID 843 to 3300 East Market Street, York, Pennsylvania, from 1017 North Sherman Street, York, Pennsylvania. And this one is not an advertisement. This would be an approval.
It's just a resolution, that's correct.
I just have one question, so that just to be sure that I understand that this is a license that Brewery Products owns, I assume, but just because they bought it and they're selling it, they're not in that business. That's sort of correct?
That's correct, yes.
The answer was yes, that is correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Any discussion on this? Anything? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for approval of resolution number 2026-40, authorizing the transfer of retail liquor license number ID 843 to Legacy Beer and Beverage, Inc., 3300 East Market Street, York, Pennsylvania.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any old business that anyone wants to talk about? Sidewalks on 11th Avenue and Whiteford Road? Anything we need to talk about at this point?
That area was just paved. I got a lot of positive comments about that. But regarding sidewalks, no.
New business. approval of September 11th National Memorial Trail Alliance wayfinding sign placement along the 9/11 trail route in the township.
Mr. Chairman, the September 11th Alliance is putting waypoint signs throughout the trail all through the Commonwealth, and part of that route travels through the township. So the signs have already been approved by PennDOT. They're normal bike size, bike trail size signs. There's nothing aesthetically wrong with them, but they just prefer to receive permission, even though they're putting them in the road right away. They'd rather receive permission from each municipality. So this is kind of just a formality.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for approval of September 11th National Memorial Trail Alliance wayfinding sign placement along the 9/11 trail route in the township.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have acknowledgement of David Heltzel's resignation.
I move that we acknowledge the resignation with regrets.
Thank you.
I second that acknowledgement motion with the same regrets.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think that takes us to the end of our meeting agenda this evening, so meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.